On today's episode of Mind vs. Muscle, we sit down with Joseph Hawthorne of Copper Moose Fitness. We discuss why he named his gym Copper Moose Fitness, being real, raw, relevant, and how that's going to get you results in creating a culture for your gym as well. And also, this guy's climbing fucking Mount Rainier. Hell of a goal. Stay tuned. What up, guys? So today we got Joseph Hawthorne out of Pasadena, California. Am I correct?
Right.
Out of Pasadena, California, Copper Moose Fitness. You should definitely check him out. I know he's on Facebook for sure. He's shooting a lot of content on there. And the reason that we wanted to bring him on the podcast today was something that's not really talked about in the fitness industry, which is culture. And I think that, when we were thinking about this topic, Joseph immediately came to mind. He does a great job of being himself and portraying, the message that he wants to send, within Copper Moose and to the people that come into those doors every single day. And so, Joseph, really, we just want to talk about like why that's important to you, and what's special about Copper Moose Fitness and what separates you guys from everybody else, pretty much.
Yeah, I love it, man. Thanks for having me here. This is definitely a subject I love talking about. And I think it's whether you're, a personal trainer, whether you own a fitness business or just any business in general, it's the essence of what it needs to be. It's the connection point. Like culture is just a cultivation of the experiences that you want to be able to deliver, that you want your clients to have, and that they want to actually experience. It's what separates the great businesses from the mediocre businesses and the ones that stay around. I mean, the culture is what I've studied to emulate here at Copper Moose. You look at Disney and Nike and Starbucks, and it's clear as day what that experience is going to be, and that experience is what the culture is. And so, I think that a lot of people, that's the missing piece. It's easy to study, fitness as a trainer and get all nerded out, and that's the fun part for a lot of us. But really, it's about human connection, and so it's like, how can you emulate a piece of you so that it just transfers over and it can actually be felt the moment people step in the doors, or even better, before they even step in the doors. And so I think, like, when it comes to culture, it's just an extension of who you are, and whether you're the owner or the trainer, like, it's just got to be real and authentic. And I know you guys use the phrase real, raw, and relevant, and it's so perfect, because that's the difference between, a place that has its own culture because it's real, it's authentic, whatever that may be, versus a place that's just trying to kind of piece things together and pull different pieces and just doing what they've seen has worked. And I think you have to be really, really real with yourself first to be able to know what that is.
But taking different pieces of different things is cool as long as it's true to you, right? And it's not something that you're not faking it to make it, right? It's really something that you believe in with your whole heart, even whether that it works or not. If something that doesn't work for somebody else, like, might work for you because you make it happen, right? Do you agree with that? And I think
absolutely.
I think that's a lot of kind of what you've done, because, I know that you've done a lot of continuing education with some of the top guys in the industry, and we have to extract information and pull those things into our facility in order to create a successful environment for our clients.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any big takeaways that you can give us or the people listening of how you built that culture? Or is this just how since your childhood, you've just always been that guy that's really good at expelling who you are, and it's kind of contagious? Or did you study specific figures? Because like you said, like, I feel like a lot of fitness entrepreneurs and fitness professionals, we always go to the nutrition, the training, the mobility, all these things that are cool and fun to study. But people don't look at Walt Disney, for example, and look at what he's done, or Steve Jobs, and how they created these, like, such memorable businesses of who they actually are, right? So what have you done in your experience, in your history, to build that?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, like, I fell into the fitness industry. So I worked for Starbucks as a store manager for a number of years. So I kind of had this different experience that I think really helped me see that. And their whole concept was they wanted it to be a third place experience. Yeah, they sell coffee, but they're in the people business. Right. And so for me, I got kind of this upper hand by seeing that and just realizing, well, that's what fitness needs to be. And I fell into it just because of aches and pains from owning a landscaping business that I did after Starbucks. It was kind of my interim and just beat my body to shit. And, I was a small guy. I wasn't the athletic guy. I mean, Theo has punched me in the face before and we've trained together. So
he's being
well
serious
aware
right now. Like literally has punched him in the face, I believe, right?
Well, we'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's true. And so he's seen, like, I'm not, I wasn't like the football player, the athletic, like, superstar. I'm the small guy that fell into it. And so I can relate and connect to people, who are, in their 40s and their 50s who are just like, oh shit, my body's falling apart. I probably need to do something about it. To me, it just happened a little earlier and realized I had such a love for it and that I could create an experience for people that actually made them feel nurtured and accepted in control of their own life and their destiny with their body, instead of just like, oh, I want to be like that guy or I want to follow that. So, I mean, when it came to creating a culture, like, it really was what I extracted a lot from Starbucks and some of these other companies of, it's a people business and it's the people that we want to give them what they need. And it just happens to be that training is what we do. And so I think I had this upper hand by not being in the industry. Like Theo said, I've done all my homework and studied and continued education under the best of the best and continue to stay super humble on that. Learning is a never ending journey. So never let ego get in the way of that. But yeah, I mean, it was just knowing that people came first and how do I want to bring that in? And because I didn't have some of these touches and experiences within the fitness industry that a lot of people do, I think it almost gave me a little bit of an upper hand. So it's just being able to empathize with people. And man, when it comes to building your culture, like, it's really knowing yourself and what theme you want to carry on. Like, what's the theme of the gym? And ours is just like human connection. Like, that's what it is. I want to make people laugh. I want to make sure that they have a good time, and I want to make sure that they feel connected to each other. Because, like, that doesn't exist in today's world. Yeah. Like we were saying in the beginning of this, Cody and I, like, we know each other because of Facebook. I've even come up to Vigor Ground for some training and some different stuff along the way. And, Luca's been one of my mentors for years, but we don't officially know each other. Like, oh yeah, my friend, Cody, he knows his stuff. Like, it's easy to say those things, but I think we're missing those, like, real human connections. And that's all that culture is about, but it has to be an extension of the way you want to build those human connections. And I think that's a missing piece for some trainers and for some gyms. It's like, it's just about the fitness and the nutrition. And that's how they're trying to connect with people because they think that's what people really want. Right. But those are just the symptoms that we're trying to treat. Right. What's the real reason behind that is that people want to come together and they want to feel like they're a part of something bigger. So I think if a gym can't offer something bigger and nurture those feelings, then there's going to be a missing link, and for us, it's unlimited high fives, so it's like you come in, you're going to feel like physical contact, which I think is really missing from a lot of people's lives.
In a positive way.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're going to be celebrated whether you do body weight squat or whether you max out on a 400-pound squat. Like, I don't care. I'm going to celebrate the shit out of you because you're taking time to do you. And so there's no mirrors in our place, like whatsoever, so that people aren't coming in self-conscious. You've got every shape, every size, every age, and we're going to celebrate with you along the way and, get to know you. Like, everybody gets a nickname here, different nicknames from different of the coaches. Everybody kind of has their own thing, but
I like that.
Yeah. Like people know coming in, we pre-frame them too. We're going to swear a lot, because I feel like swear words they're just sentence enhancers, So I'm going to start off by saying we're going to have a great fucking time today. And it's an exciting thing. It's not swearing at you. And that's part of the culture too, because people need that release, right? Like, they're coming in and they've got 2 kids who have been fighting all day, work was shit, and life is just happening to them. So they can't swear at work. They don't want to swear at their kids. But when you're picking up something heavy and you just want to yell fuck, just yell fuck. Like, it feels good. So we kind of give them that permission, that they feel like they need. Like, they have an outlet that is far beyond just training. You know, and they also know that we're going to make really inappropriate jokes. Like, I pre-frame people like, hey, if you have any issues with sexual innuendos or like really bad jokes or anything like that, love you, but we're not the place for you. Just because like that's going to come out. Like, our goal is to like make you sweat, make you laugh, you know, get you the results you want. But that'll come from the fact that you're ingrained into like this culture. You know, you can say anything you want and nobody's going to bat an eye. They're almost going to like look at you weird if you're not saying something.
Yeah. I think
That's a good transition into my next question. My bad, Cody, but I think that this is important just because I spent some time with you at Resurrection Week, and you know, we're both kind of, you know, the class clown, so to speak, and we joke a lot. But there was a point in time where that came from a bad place, right? That came from more of like a negative place than a positive place. So can you touch a little bit on that and where that stemmed from and how you kind of made the transition into, or did that have an effect on your culture side of your business, so to speak?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, what Theo's talking about, Resurrection Week was a powerful event we did both down in San Diego, just filled with breakthroughs and awesome stuff. Just for anyone who listening and doesn't know, I'm sure they do because if they follow you guys. But yeah, and for me, like, because I was always a small guy and went to inner city high school, like I joked my prom picture, I'm the only white one in the entire school, I feel like. And so I was a small guy that got, you know, I would get picked on. So I had to use humor as a way to fit in, to kind of get out of situations. And that was my thing. You know, I didn't play sports. I was a band nerd. And so I liked apparently to stack all the odds against me. So, you know, pick up an instrument and play the band. But so for me, like, humor was my way to connect, you know? So it's like, who's the biggest, baddest, like, dude who's running the school? Sweet, I'll crack some jokes on him, see how far I can push the limit to make him laugh and be good with him. And so that was like always my barrier. And it was a way that I kind of like went through life, you know, like that's how people would like me. That's how people would associate me, you know, willing to do anything. Like, sure, you want me to take off my pants, like, and just train in my underwear and run around? Like, yeah, I'll do it. Plus the lady clients kind of enjoyed it, or at least they pretended. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that became who I was, but it was so much that I was like masking all this other stuff. You know, yeah. I like to say, like, it was almost like the mask of masculinity. Like, all men, we like to wear these masks that kind of go up to kind of protect the other side. And I have, you know, like my softer, deep, spiritual, emotional side, like Theo was kind of talking about. And I was never like letting it out. I also had my dark, angry side that was just kind of getting buried deep, just be the funny guy to deflect. And so like after that, it was like, all right, cool. That piece needs to come out. It was this huge breakthrough and realization that if I can't let that out, it was going to just continue to destroy me. And the more I buried it, the worse it was going to be. And you know, so since then, like the gym tone has changed. And so we have days where, you know, like it's just being really, really authentic with people. So people will come in like, Joseph, how you doing today? We're going to have a great fucking workout. So I'm not answering the question saying I'm having a shitty day, but the reality is I'm still going to deliver and give you a great workout. But then we have those conversations. And I think that's a piece of the culture is like, we're willing to have those conversations. So we call it Saturday Sermon. And every Saturday after all of our big key workouts, I deliver a sermon. And it's basically like whatever is going on either in my life or a story or something that can actually deliver like a deeper meaning and moral, you know, so that they're not just like hitting a training session, you know, like it's awesome to hit your, you know, 395 deadlift or whatever. But when you do, like, what is like being extracted from that? And so, you know, we've kind of taken this different approach of like, not just, you know, the fun place, not just the place for release, not just the place for like deep, powerful connections with people and friendships that have formed, but also like you're going to get some coaching that you wouldn't anywhere else. Like you're going to hear some stuff that you don't want to hear. So now it's taken a tone of like, my coaches are going to tell me what's up because they're willing to tell each other what's up and they're willing to look at each other in that same manner. So it's definitely shifted. And I think that's the beauty of culture is like, it can continue to shift. You know, like we were just like the really goofy, wild place at the beginning, and that kind of worked. And now it's like, cool, it can have a deeper meaning. So it's not like it has to stay because we're ever evolving and changing as as humans, as long as we're willing to grow and expand. And so it just kind of is emulating that within the gym.
I think
So with having, go ahead, Cody.
like one thing I was going to touch on is just from an outside perspective, because I've never been to your gym. I don't know a whole lot about you, but just from what I've heard from, obviously I worked with John, which was one of your guys for a while. I've heard a lot from Theo. You're just being extremely real, and I feel like you have these, it's like you're opening a door for other people to come in and be real as well. And I think that builds like a huge culture, because something that we all learned, at least I know I did during Resurrection Week, is just letting all the different parts of me out and knowing that it's okay to do that, right? And then it changes your atmosphere, it changes your energy, and then it changes the people around you. And part of it all is just surrounding yourself with those people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, like, they know that they're going to get called out, but they know that they can, like, call me out on my stuff too.
Yeah.
That's the beauty. It creates this dialogue, and when that dialogue happens, the relationship happens, and then it's beyond just a gym. It's an extra home. It's a place they go to because they know that they're going to get called out on their shit, or they're going to, like, you know, whatever is needed to happen is going to happen.
Right, and that's kind of like that third place you were talking about, right? Luca said something like this to me before too, is we all have like three main places, right? One's home and one's work. Like, so the goal for gym owners should be, and those are like mandatory. You got to have a home and you got to have a work, right? So that third place should be like your place of refuge where you can just go and be yourself, and it's just like comforting, right? So I think it's important for gym owners to try to create that third place for other people, and obviously you're doing a great job. And in fact, like you being at places like Starbucks before was probably a great example, because how many people go there just to chill and get away for a little bit, have some coffee and work and just chill, right? And I know I have a couple coffee shops that are like my third homes, because the gym is my work / home, right? So like I know for me, like Starbucks, the local Starbucks down the road is one of those places, and those people know me by name and love me. So they built that for me. So I know that that's huge for all gym owners out there.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. And you know, I think it's just knowing yourself really well, being willing to be yourself 100% of the time. Like, if you're angry, like, there's nothing wrong with telling people, like, yeah, I'm having a stressful day. Like, last week I was struggling with some stuff, and I busted out some shift moves. My clients know what shift moves are, and so, you know, it's just being real. Like, so I'm not gonna let you down.
Explain a shift move. Explain a shift move. I don't think a lot of people know what that is, and I think those are. It's a really weird concept if you think about it for most people, but it can be really powerful. And I know, like, when I finally like let myself just do it in public, and like I'm in Macy's doing a burpee saying "fuck it," like people look at you weird, but it feels really empowering and it's good. So like explain what that is and how you use it, and how do you apply that to your clients? Because I think it's a little bit different when we did Resurrection and we have a bunch of different coaches doing it versus trying to apply that to your clientele.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just a tool, right? Like anything else. You know, so many people suffer from stress and anxiety. You know, I was one of them that it was constantly, and it's still something I'm continually working on. And a shift move is just a reframe. It's a way to snap yourself out of whatever it is you are going through. And it's one of the tools I teach all of our clients and stuff as well. And all it is that when you're feeling frustrated, stressed, or anxious, or whatever is going on, it's taking a minute to actually just stop whatever is going through. And instead of like just dwelling on the thoughts, because a lot of times people will be like, oh, don't think about that. And I'm like, yeah, that's easy. Fuck off. Don't think about it. Are you kidding me? Like, don't think about elephants. All right, now you're thinking about elephants. Like, we can't control our thoughts, right? And so it's like, how quickly can we reframe this to regain some power and control? And so it's just actually stopping whatever you're doing and taking a few deep breaths. Because anytime we're feeling stressed or anxious, our breathing like goes shallow, right? If you've ever had an anxiety attack or anything like that. And so we're not getting the oxygenation through our body, and our pH balance in our body like actually gets messed up. So we're releasing all this cortisol in our system, right? The stress hormone. So it's sending like all this stuff through us, which making us even more tense. So our muscles are tense, like we're not breathing well, so we're not thinking clearly. Cortisol is spiked, like nothing is good is happening. And so like when you're actually just stopping to breathe, like if you've ever just been stressed, you just take a deep breath in and just exhale out, it actually relaxes, right? You're getting oxygenation and blood's flowing through the entire body. It starts to like balance the alkalinity in your body again. So, I mean, you guys know I'm a fitness nerd, so that's why I focus on this stuff as well. Like I had to like actually know the science behind it, you know, behind everything, behind meditation to even like actually start doing it on a consistent basis. So it's taking a few deep breaths. I like to do 5, you know, because it actually like gives me enough time to start just focusing on my breath. And then at the end of that, you knock out some kind of physical exertion. So, like Cody, you mentioned burpees, and that's what I typically like to do as well, unless you're in an area that you can't do burpees for whatever reason. But match the number of burpees to the number of breaths that you take. And all that's doing is now releasing all of that rage. Like anytime you hit a good workout after you're frustrated or whatever, you always feel better, right? Like it's that release. Because now not only have we released some dopamine, but some endorphins, and we've also got some like serotonin going through our system. So we got 3 like major brain chemicals, these feel-good chemicals that have just been released just from breathing and just from doing some kind of physical exertion that can combat all of that. And now because you're out of breath, you're forced to like actually start to control. So like everything is started to completely shift. So from a chemical standpoint, like we're actually back in control a little bit faster, and like just instantly you get this little bit of release. It doesn't stay forever, depending on what you're dealing with, but it's like the fastest way to snap yourself out and bring yourself back. And Cody mentioned like at the end, just yelling like, fuck it. There's a great power, I think, in the end of just declaring whatever it is that you need
and expressing how you feel. Yeah,
exactly. And it's that final release of whatever it is. You're actually vocalizing it, because when we internalize stuff, that's when we get the most screwed up. And so it's actually being able to do that. So yeah, hopefully that helps.
We're gonna change pace a little bit, and I kind of want to go back to the whole copper moose thing, because we're on Skype right now, and I can see just above your on the left side of you is this moose, right? Copper Moose fucking fitness. Why Copper Moose? Like, why did you choose that? Okay, so
he's got a moose mask on.
Got a real mask. All right.
Yeah, we've got a few of them.
Talk about that a little bit, because like I think that's, again, like, man, we're talking about culture. We're talking about how you're unique, and I don't think it really gets much more unique than Copper Moose Fitness. So why Copper Moose, and why do people really have like an attachment to that at your gym?
Yeah, so I said your culture needs to be an extension of you, so the name needed to be that. And when we were thinking about names, my wife and I at the time, we had 2 dogs, and we had a yellow lab who we still have. Her name is Annie, but her coloration is very copper. And then we had a boy dog. He passed away, but his name was Moose. And so we're like, let's name the gym after our dogs. At the time I didn't have my son and stuff, and so it was like that was an extension of us. That was our true essence, And you guys being dog owners as well, I'm sure you can get that. Like it's part of your family.
Yeah, most
definitely. So I'm like, you know what? We just need to name this place after them. I wanted something original. I wanted something unique, because anybody could be like Pasadena's best fitness, and Trainer Joe down the street, get you up. Like it's like, come on. Like nobody's gonna remember that shit, right? And it doesn't have any meaning. And so like for me, like how you do anything is how you do everything, and everything needs to have depth and meaning. Otherwise, it's just not worth it. Like significance is like really important. And it's like you look at the name of Starbucks, like it's like it's got to have some kind of deeper meaning that tells a story, because that's what we all want. We want to be a part of a story. We want to be a part of a journey. And just like the essence of copper, like it's valuable to the point where people like steal it out of, pipes, and it's a conductor of electricity. And that's what I wanted this place to be. Like I wanted you to come in and you to be copper, right? Like you don't need to be gold, which everybody really wants, but it's super malleable, and it's actually like not that great when you think about it from a usability standpoint. No, like you're copper, you're useful, you're valuable, like you're a conductor of like excitement and electricity. And I wanted like even the name needed to emulate that. And then also like the other piece too, it's like when you look at all the greatest brands, they all have this small little icon. Like Apple has the apple, Nike has the swoosh, Mickey has 3 circles put into a Mickey Mouse. Like it's the simplest of designs and things. And so for us, it was just a moose. And so, it's like, it's pretty awesome. You hear like, people will be like, yeah, my friend told me about the moose place. And so like you hear moose, you think of us,
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted. I wanted something that was so different and off topic that it wasn't going to be Trainer Joe Fitness,
Right.
It's extremely memorable. That's for damn sure.
For sure.
And that was the goal. Like, at least make your head turn, you know, to the point where when it comes back up, you won't forget it, or at least you'll know something moose is in it. And so it's kind of fun because then we were able to, you know, create like an extension of the brand. So we've got different shirts for different days of the week, you know, and our own lingo, things that doesn't get, you know, like we're a fangle, which is a herd of moose. Now, did I know that before we named the business Copper Moose? No. One of our clients was like, hey, did you know that a herd of moose is called a fangle? And I was like, did you know that you just named like everybody in this gym a fangle? So, you know, it's like, I think that's a big reason that we wanted something super unique like that. Because it's easy to see like these other gyms that, you know, the classic black and red. I feel like that's the norm. You can pretty much go anywhere and everybody's got black and red theme. No offense if you like black and red, like that's cool. Like I'm all for it. And then, you know, the graffiti art and stuff like that, it kind of like it became this thing of, oh, that's what I have to do. You know, I have to do that because everybody else is doing that. That's cool. Let me put that up on my wall. You know, and then there's gyms that have been doing it for like the originators. Like look back at like when Luca had the original spot in the garage, he was one of the ones that actually did that, you know, before anybody did that. Right. And I think that's why Vigor works too, right? It's an extension of, you know, everything that is important to him and his philosophies and stuff like that. And then just listening to the clients and to the trainers and following the direction of that. I mean, I mentioned the shirts, right? So we had a client who, she came in and she was wearing a shirt that said on Wednesdays we wear pink. It was in the month of October. And I was like, boom, every Wednesday we're wearing pink. Everybody. Like, we're going to support breast cancer. We're going to bring more awareness to it. We're going to run some charity events. Like, my grandmother died for breast cancer. This is our thing. That was 2 years ago. Everybody in our gym, like all the dudes roll in wearing pink on Wednesdays. Doesn't matter who you are. And so it's like all of those little things, I think, make the culture, you know, like having your own lingo, having your own like identifiers, having your brand, you know, like we use words like BAM, which stands for badass mofo making moves. Like anytime you're like doing stuff, like everything has to have, you know, some significance, some meaning to create the culture. But it's stuff that started just because that's what I wanted to talk about. That's what I wanted to do. And then just listening, like keeping your finger on the pulse to what the clients are after. You know, she rocked that pink shirt and everyone's like, that's cool. So it's like, cool, then I'll just pour fuel on that fire. If everyone wants to do that, sweet. Everyone wants to come in on Monday being motivational. So now we wear all black on Monday, all black, because it's Murder Monday. You're coming in to murder some fat and get shit done. Like, let's start the week fucking right. So it's like, you know, just feeling out what people really want and actually like listening to them and asking and engaging. And then, I mean, that's how it all starts. And that's how we became this little tiny juggernaut of Copper Moose Fitness. You know, it's 1,000 square feet. It's a small ass facility.
Dude, every square inch of that place had, like, it's got culture written all over it, because everything that you guys do, from sayings to the things that you do every single day of the week, you have something going on. You know, the logo in and of itself, like everything that you guys do is based around that culture. Like you set the standard, right? Like you set a certain pace for people, whether it's your team or your clients, and now that's just how it operates. Like that's exactly what I wanted to talk about today. So man, I'm super glad that we got on with this, and that kind of transitions me into my next question, as far as, you know, you being this super, you know, unique place of business or outlet for people. It's very hard. And Cody and I know a little bit about this just because we've been at Vigor for a while, you know, to build a team around that, right? Like, you can't just bring anybody into Copper Moose. You can't just bring anybody into Vigor Ground. So how do you go about choosing your team? And I think I already know the answer, but I want to hear from you just to see if I'm right.
Very internal. So like our head coach, who I believe both of you guys have met when I brought him up there. But he started out internal. I mean, he was going to school and getting all his certs and stuff like that when he was here just training. And so bringing people up through the culture, like that's the easiest way. 'Cause we can teach people training and periodization and all the nerdy stuff, like any day, all day long. Right. I mean, like we write every single one of our own workouts. We don't buy anything. I think that's another thing a lot of places do, but for us, it's all creation. It's all internal. And so with staffing, it's been pretty much the same way. I mean, our head coach, our other strength coach that runs our like main women's program, because I can teach the other stuff. It's hard to teach personality, connection, and that ability. But that's how it's mostly been. Brought in one other coach from the outside, but that was literally looking at, gosh, I don't even know how many applications. It was ridiculous. And then narrowing it down to like 20 something phone interviews, and then narrowing it down to actual 3 in-person interviews. Cause it's like, you gotta be picky. Like it's the most important thing, by far. They're on the front lines. And if they don't, they're not on the same page with you, then you're screwed. And for me, it's like knowing exactly what they want and motivates them. Like that's the biggest thing for my coaches. Like what drives you? What motivates you? What keeps you going? And like looking at James, since you guys both know him, he's like, I want to do this cert. Cool. I want to do some on it stuff. Cool. Like, so then that's what drives my coaches. That's what I'm going to put my effort towards so that they're happy. Cause happy coaches obviously, makes everything. But it's just communication. Constant communication with your team.
And that I noticed too with not only creating your team but creating your culture is you don't, like, at least you don't seem like it, you don't force anything, right? So I read a lot about, we like Seth Godin, for example, he has like the tribe and the linchpin, and like you want to create this tribe and this community and this like movement, because that's what a culture is, and it creates a demand for people to want to be a part of something, rather than just lose weight, right? So, like, you've done that, but, like, as you can see from everything you've been talking about, you don't force any of that. You're just being you, and you're letting other people be them, and you're showing, like the whole moose thing. And you said it was a fangle? Is it fangle?
Yeah.
So, like, a fangle, like, I want to be a part of your fangle now. Like, that's a dope. You know what I mean? Like, there's this, like, dope community and tribe of people that get to call each other something. And if they ran into each other outside of the gym, it'd be like, oh, yeah, this dude's in my fangle. And the people are like, what? And he's like, oh, don't worry about it, man. Like, you know what I mean? And then you have this in culture. Like, I think that's the coolest thing. And for anybody out there listening, like, reading stuff like Tribe and Linchpin and all that stuff, it's great. But remembering to just, like, do you and just build your culture and be patient around that, I think is the most important. And probably one of the biggest things I'm taking away from you is that you just have let it build up. You haven't really pushed or forced anything on anybody. You just been you, and you've let that create this culture. And those who want to be a part of that become a part of that.
Yeah, autonomy is huge, giving the clients autonomy to trying to even change some of the direction of the studio is huge. And then of course with the coaches, one of my coaches, he wants to wear crazy, ridiculous socks. And so we have crazy, ridiculous sock Thursday because a few people wanted to jump on board. Do I like just like low cut Nike black socks every day of my life? Yes, that's what I like, but I support it because that's what they're all about,
Right.
It's being willing to let it flow, for sure.
And that makes me think about a video that you shot probably about a year ago, where you were kind of just going around the gym while people were training and say, hey brother, how many pounds have you lost? I'm sure you remember exactly which one I'm talking about. And I mean, we all know that it doesn't take, the most scientific approach to training and getting people results. It's actually really simple, right? Like, move, get off your ass, eat vegetables and lean protein, and you're going to probably lose some weight, right? And what's so important, I think the missing link that a lot of coaches aren't getting is the culture side of things, and how that's so important to getting those people the results. Because how long have those people been training with you, and how consistent have they been? Because they want to show up to Copper Moose Fitness every day and wear pink or wear crazy socks, and they want to have a great fucking time with Coach Joseph. Like that's so important to their results, not just their nutrition or doing a 5-3-1 protocol based program or anything like that, right? Like it's a lot of it has to do with people actually wanting to show up to the gym, be consistent, and having that outlet. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And you can kind of nurture, the other stuff as it comes,
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, so often I think for gym owners more than anybody else, it's like leads and more and more and more in. Right. And like, we're going to be celebrating 4 years. And, so like just in the last year, it's been 3 years. So we give out these like super dope custom Bluetooth headphones for when you hit your 3-year anniversary with us. And I'm like, holy shit, like we're a small 1,000 square foot facility, about 150 people. And I just had to order 55 headphones for the people that have been with us 3 years, and it's like, I'd rather nurture people and actually build these relationships with them and get to know them and like become part of their family as they become part of my family. And like, that's what just makes the difference. And then it's really cool because along the way, because they're so excited to come, because they're so ingrained, because it's a part of their life, they're going to get the results instead of like, the perfect meal plan. And it's also like knowing our strengths, right? Like Cody mentioned, he trained one of our guys, John, like, we're precision nutrition, habit-based all day, understand macros. I just don't like doing macros. Like, it's not my thing, programming it out, right? And so it was like, he's like, hey, I want to take stuff to the next level and get fully shredded. And I'm like, I like just being lean, seeing my abs, but I don't want to get to that level. Go see Cody, right? So it's like us also knowing like what we do best and just focusing on that so that you're not trying to be everything for everybody. And I think that's where like a lot of the culture gets dropped off. Is either gyms or places trying to be everything for everybody, or not at least being willing to bring in the specialists within that area to your gym. If that's another way of doing it to be things for everybody, that's cool. But for us, it's like, what do we do really best, and just focusing on that. And then people along the way get to this place where they're like, all right, cool. Now I want to hit. That's fun when our females are like, I want to hit a 225 deadlift. So now we can focus on that and what that is. But if they didn't like start off with just like coming 3 times a week to something that, they hadn't been doing for 10 years that they didn't even like doing before, if we didn't have those other pieces, they'd never get to that place. So it's like, yeah, those things are important, but it's not the foundation. Like the foundation is your theme, your culture, your environment. That's everything.
I agree.
100%, man. Love it.
So I think we got a few minutes before you got to get out of here. I want to talk a little bit about something that you got going on that you just signed up for. An epic goal, I'm sure that you're going to accomplish, which is climbing Mount Rainier. And for me, I hate being cold. Actually, I just got off the plane. I was just in Minnesota. I actually had a great Christmas. I had a great time. But at the same time, man, I love San Diego. I love the beach. But so to me, this is just kind of crazy. So talk a little bit about, what you got going on with the whole Mount Rainier thing.
Yeah. So since Resurrection Week, it's been about how can I lead from the front to the best of my abilities, and that actually was a huge part of the culture at Copper Moose. It's why we had 75 people all do a Spartan race together. I mean, like, what gym does that?
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
It was cool. So like, we had I got some like epic flags, and like we just did this thing like up huge, right? And so it's like. And then we, teams running Ragnars and stuff like that. I don't even have to do anything, and they like have their shirts all like custom made with mooses on over them and their Vans and stuff. It's fun, but because like I'm willing to do something that scares me every year, something that I don't want to do, and that's like a big push here is like step into the uncomfortable. And for some people that's just stepping in the uncomfortable with just working out, and for others it's like whatever that next level. So I feel compelled to lead from the front, and that's where growth and expansion happens. So last year was all about doing crazy challenges because I'm an entrepreneur, and I have been pretty much most of my life except for my stint with Starbucks, and I just don't like being told what to do. So, the fact that some Navy SEALs at SEAL Fit were going to be telling me all these orders and then spraying me in the face with water was like a nightmare. So that's, so I did that, and then I did Go Ruck last year. It was about stepping into challenges and giving up control. And then this year, on my bucket list for a long time, because I have family up in Seattle and kind of all over, and I've always gone up there and seen that mountain and be like, yeah, I'm going to climb that someday. And but almost as like a joke, right? And so this year I decided, you know what, like I got to pull the trigger. And it's about, like you said, doing stuff that you don't really want to do, and that's exactly why you want to do it. So I've lived in California or southern Arizona, which is like 110, 115, my whole life. It is like 65 degrees in the gym right now. We're closed right now for holiday break, but I'm wearing a sweatshirt and sweats. Like, I do not like the cold. So when Theo says that, I totally get that. I don't like ice. I don't like glaciers. I don't really like climbing things. And so it's everything that, it's going to kind of push me outside of my comfort zone,
right?
And force me to step up. And I think we all need something to constantly do that with, just that one level outside of our comfort zone, and just the insights and the power we take away from it is huge. So that's why I'm doing this one this year, and it also gives me something to train for. You know, it's so easy to just think of training as like sets and reps and weights, and it's got to be more than that. You know, like Cody goes out and skates, and you know, Theo, you go and slam dunk basketballs and whatever, right? And do backflips like one-handed NBA Jam stuff. But yeah, so I mean, for me, it's like cool. It needs to be something big, something challenging, and so this year I'm climbing Mount Rainier, and if I come back, then we'll see what the next year's challenge is.
Yeah. You better fucking come back, dude, because we got to sit down. We got to talk about that afterwards. So I'll be interested to hear how that goes.
Well, I'll be in your hometown that week, so I'm planning on it.
Cool. All right, man. That's all we got for today. Thank you, Joseph, for jumping on the podcast, man. You dropped some major knowledge bombs, and I'm sure some big takeaways, not just for me and Cody, but for all the listeners out there as well.
Appreciate it, gents.
Take care.
If you love the Mind vs. Muscle podcast, want more free content, and you want to support the movement, share this podcast and leave us a 5-star rating and review. To get your questions answered on the next episode, see the show notes for our social media handles and hashtag Mind vs. Muscle.